Everyone hurts.
Dalish encampment.
These are not good times to come unbidden before the people, especially here, where we remember the destruction of our home at the hands of humans. My patience is thin, with all that has befallen. Perhaps you should be on your way.
What has befallen your clan?
The Orlesian War has hindered our progress through the dirt. The armies cause rock slides. They dig ditches that trip the Halla and destroy the Aravils, making passage impossible. Precisely when the clan needs him most, my first, Tavin, defies my wishes and mounts an excursion to the Emerald Graves. And now, I've learned that the grounds of Var Balanaris are infested by angry spirits from the beyond.
I can deal with that for you.
My clan and I would be deeply grateful if you could, and be mindful of the resting places of our dead. Var Balanaris is sacred ground.
Why do elves call this plain the Dearth?
When the people settled here, we called it Dearth of Erin. The promise. For the Dales were promised to us by Andraste. It is still the Dearth to us, even if the Shemlin give it a name that recalls our destruction. Another time.
Please don't get too close to the Halla. They're unused to strangers.
I won't disturb them. Rest easy.
Maceranis, I did not expect such kindness from a stranger. May I ask, traveling these plains, have you come across a golden Halla? I fear human soldiers may kill her. If she would only draw close, I could gain her trust. I could protect her.
I've heard of a golden Halla. You call it Hanal Gillen, the Pathfinder.
You have heard the legend. I'm amazed. Yes. Some of us believe she comes to the people in times of great need.
Why do you think soldiers hunt your Halla?
Pelts and horns sell for gold in Shem markets, I hear. And if they were golden. Goodbye then. Elkanan, the stores are so low.
You seem troubled.
It's nothing. Just our stores. With the Shem War and the demons, replenishing them has been difficult. For one, we're almost out of herbs, and we lack materials to repair the Aravils. I don't even remember. There's so much we're missing. It's all written in my ledger.
You were the one they called the Herald of Andraste. I've heard so much about you and your Inquisition. There's talk, even amongst the Dalish.
Ah, talk. What do they say exactly?
Well, the clans are worried about what this might mean for us. The Dalish, that is. No matter what they say, your Inquisition is the only thing trying to help the world. I wish I could be a part of that.
Sounds like a volunteer.
It won't happen. Keeper Howin won't allow it. He doesn't trust anything to do with the Chantry or Andraste.
I could try to convince your keeper.
You could try.
I'll take my leave.
Greetings, stranger.
Are you a merchant of some sort?
I am Taniel, the clan's craftsman. Leather, ironbark. These are my specialities. However, Keeper Howin has forbidden trade with outsiders we do not know or trust. You seem fascinated with our camp.
Do you have anything to trade?
The Keeper has forbidden trade with strangers we cannot trust. Please understand.
Thalanas Valoran, where are you?
Who's Valorin?
My brother. He's been sullen for a while because the Keeper chose another as his apprentice. He thinks it's a slight, but it isn't. He just wasn't ready. Keeper Howin wants him to wait. Then he took off 3 nights ago on his own. I don't know what he was thinking. The Keeper sent hunters to search, but they never found a trace. Mathal's mercy. If anything's happened.
Has there been an exchange?
Inquisitor.
Where's my other hand? Right then. Inquisitor.
Ready for anything, Inquisitor.
already she makes herself known to the others. She knows she's meant to be here. Thank you, Lethaline. I will never be able to express my gratitude.
Harold. Your return. Harold, your return.
One of your clan wishes to join the Inquisition.
You may continue to wish. I will not let Lorna leave with you. Not when I'm uncertain of your intentions. Another time.
Old pain, resting. We should let them sleep. I like your horns, the Iron Bull. But they're dragon horns, not bull horns. You could have named yourself the Iron Dragon.
Oh. Shit. That would have been better.
Herald, you return.
I've destroyed the demons on your sacred ground.
Yes, but our hunters watched you from afar, and they know you defiled our graves, and that you stole a relic, and with it broke open the vault at Unadin. But I shouldn't expect an outsider to understand. The demons are gone, and we should be thankful. A small token of our gratitude, then. Another time.
Greetings.
Aneth Arah, Herald.
I'll take my leave.
I will never forget what you've done.
If I may share something else with you, there are strange glyphs inscribed in the stones of this place. veiled only with balefire, although they are elven in origin. I cannot make out their purpose. Perhaps they will mean something to you another time.
Please, if you see my brother out there.
Dareth Shiral.
At this rate, we'll never be on our way. You've brought supplies. If you could store them in that chest, I would be grateful.
Dareth Shiral.
You've brought supplies. If you could store them in that chest, I would be grateful. Welcome again, friend.
Cole, you should be careful dancing around with those daggers when I'm throwing fire.
It won't hurt me. It's friendly fire.
That doesn't always mean what you think it means.
Like all of them. Let's see what the researchers at Skyhold make of this.
We should look around. Blade bites the arms, whispers from a laughing spirit. I'll show them. They'll see how strong I can be.
Is he trying to summon a demon? One down!
Please, if you see my brother out there, tell him to return to camp.
I'm sorry, but I found your brother.
What? What do you mean, sorry? Where is he? No, he's not.
I have his belongings.
Is this all that's left? Did you learn nothing else?
Your brother was tangled in forces he couldn't understand. Blood magic, demons. He brought this on himself.
Demons? Is that what he used to get to the talisman? But the Keeper always told him. He knew it was bad. He knew it left him open to spirits. How could he do this?
Had to tell her like that, huh?
I'm sorry. I would like to be left alone.
I found this talisman. I think your brother was looking for it. You should have it.
Linda Rani's talisman. It exists? Her sword, Evanura, was taken by Shems. But in the story, her talisman was saved and hidden. This means so much to my people. Thank you.
Fair travels, Lethelin.
It's good to see you again. Another time.
Aneth Areth Shara. Aneth Arah, Harry.
I'll take my leave.
There's
What happened here?
Looks like the merchant got hit.
It seems Vicinius angered Calpurnia by saying... That must have been Vicinius.
It seems the Venatori tired of following him.
Let's look around. Shattered crystal. Let's find the pieces. Here's another one. The crystal's whole again, but... hold on.
Lady Calpurnia, I had no intention.
I warned you of consequences should the slaves you bring me suffer in your care. Venatori, show him my displeasure.
No! Wait! Wait!
A dwarven relic, restoring memories. There's one or two in Minrathous. Very rare.
Dagna might know what to make of it.
You have the eye of a skilled haggler. This earns my respect and some measure of disdain. I'm sure you understand.
For she who trusts in the Maker, fire is her water. As the moth sees light and goes toward flame, she speak.
Disaster is what it is, and you know it.
Theirs were not the only houses affected by the loss.
The land is only part
Good morrow, Val Royal.
By the Maker, it's the Inquisitor himself. Would you care for a bouquet of flowers, your worship? The roses have been exceptional this season.
You sell flowers, I take it?
Oh, I don't sell them so much as I grow them. All for the halls of the Winter Palace. Empress Celine does so love the pink daisies. They're quite difficult to cultivate. But I don't think they'd begrudge a few flowers for the Herald of Andraste. It can be our little secret.
I was looking for some flowers, in fact.
Indeed. For what occasion, if I may ask?
For a lady friend.
Oh, no simple wildflowers for you then. I have just the thing. I'll send them to Skyhold, in fact. Rare beauties your lady will adore.
Blessed are the righteous, the lights in the shadow. In their blood, the meek.
Ah, the Inquisitor. A genuine luminary of our current circumstances. I have to offer.
Maker, though the darkness comes upon me, I shall embrace the light. I shall weather the storm.
Of course.
Do you know where this noble wanted to meet us?
I do. The Comte Boisvert invited us to his mansion, not far from here. I pray he clears up the deaths of my messengers, as promised.
Lead the way.
Welcome, my friend.
Thank you for seeing us, Comte Boisvert.
The honor is mine. Please, sit. It's an honor to assist two such distinguished guests.
We appreciate your help, Comte.
The death of Lady Montily's servants must weigh heavily on you. Have you heard of the House of Repose?
The Assassin's League?
My contacts obtained a copy of a document in the archives. Contract for a life.
The House of Repose is hereby sworn to eliminate anyone attempting to overturn the Montily's trading exile in Orlais.
They're not just after your messengers, Josephine. They'll try for you, too.
I am afraid so, yes.
The contract was signed by a noble family. The Du Paraquets.
But the Du Paraquets died out as a noble line over 60 years ago.
Indeed. But the contract was signed 109 years ago.
How can a family try to kill you after they died out?
The Du Paraquets were our rivals. They drove the Montiliers from Val Royeaux. This contract was drawn up over 100 years ago, but it wasn't invoked until I tried to overturn my family's exile.
Unpleasant though it may be, the House of Repose is merely fulfilling its contractual duties.
If the people who wanted your family dead are gone, why are the assassins still after you?
A contract is a contract, Inquisitor. Our Legion businesses live and die by their reputations. The entire guild's welfare would be endangered if an agreement was tossed aside on a whim of time or fate.
She's quite right, Your Worship. The House of Repose is doing what it feels necessary, by its standards.
I assume you have a thought or two on this, Josephine.
The Du Paraquets still have descendants under the common branch. If we elevate them to nobility, a Du Paraquet could annul the contract on my life.
That will take time, Lady Montilier. Time during which the House of Repose will be obliged to hunt you.
Will they now? You are exceedingly well informed. You're not to have said you'd heard rumors, at best.
A bit of subterfuge. This contract on your life is an ugly business. One the House of Repose deeply regrets. But this is Orlais. Even an assassin's word is his bond.
Does Comte Boisvert actually exist?
Absolutely. The Comte's offer to reveal the killers of Lady Montilier's messengers was genuine. So was his information somehow. An end to be tied up later.
I'm guessing the actual Comte Boisvert met with a fatal accident.
Comte Boisvert slumbers in a nearby closet. Nothing more. The contract on Lady Montilier's life is so unusual, we felt the courtesy of an explanation was in order.
It is appreciated, monsieur.
Your idea to seek out the Du Paraquet to revoke our orders is an interesting one. I wish you luck. I did not come to shed blood today, Inquisitor. Only to speak. Might I pass?
Why warn us about your contract and let us go?
In Orlais, it is only decent to inform those involved in a contract when extraordinary circumstances conspire.
And the guild's reputation would suffer if you ignored the contract. I quite understand.
Thank you, my lady. May we conclude with my departure?
Go, then.
Good day, Your Worship. My lady, I pray we'd never meet again.
Well, I didn't think our meeting would end like this.
We'll deal with these assassins.
I have some thoughts. Let's discuss them back at Skyhold. I'll feel safer with the castle's walls around me.
Do you hear something?
Oh, goodness. Comte Boisvert, is that you? Oh, the lock's been broken off. We'll find a saw. I realize the cabinet is quite valuable, Comte, but surely... A locksmith, then? As you wish.
Try not to touch the leeches. They are quite delicate.
Hello again.
Something you wanted to talk about?
I'm so sorry, Inquisitor. I never thought my family's trading status would trap us in an assassin's plot.
Between our soldiers and spies, Skyhold's safer than anywhere else in Thedas.
Yet the problem persists. I've tracked down the last Du Paraquets. If they become gentry, they can annul the contract on my life. We'll require a noble from Val Royeaux to sponsor them, a judge to provide documents, a minister to ratify them.
It's so like you to take the longest course of action, even when your life is at stake.
I assume you already know everything about this mess.
There is a faster way, Josephine. The original contract on your life is in the vaults of the House of Repose. If my agents infiltrate it and destroy the original, the assassin will have no obligation to chase you.
Leliana, please. I want no more bloodshed over a personal affair.
Don't be so stubborn, Josie. How long will it take you to gather these favors in Val Royeaux?
We can solve this without more deaths on either side.
My people are ready, should you change your mind. I'll post a watch on our ambassador in case the House of Repose visits.
I appreciate it, but I still believe elevating the Du Paraquets will solve this. First, we need to perform some favors in Val Royeaux. I'd be happy to discuss where we could begin. Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
How exactly does one turn farmers into members of the upper classes?
There are procedures for granting honored citizens of the Empire the title of Lord or Lady. Very long procedures. And so much paperwork. I've called in a substantial number of favors just to cut through half of it.
Are you sure the House of Repose will forget this assassin contract on a farmer's signature?
It's perfectly legal. In Val Royeaux's noble circles, a written word is a bond. Besides, the guild would never risk being so unspeakably crass.
These assassins are afraid of being seen as impolite.
Breaking one's public oath or bond implies a certain poverty in Orlais. A common merchant may lack the resources or manners to fulfill a debt, but among the guilds, it would be shameful.
You said I'd have to do some favors in Val Royeaux if we want to make the Du Paraquets lords.
The Countess Dion is our first step. Her lover, a mage from the White Spire, is missing. Bring her news of him and she'll be very amenable to sponsoring the Du Paraquets as lords.
At your service.
Inquisitor Trevelyan.
A pleasure, sir. We so rarely have a chance to meet anyone new. It is always the same crowd at these parties. So you must be a guest of Madame de Fer. Or are you here for Duc Bastien?
Are you here on business? I have heard the most curious tales of you. I cannot imagine half of them are true.
What have you heard about me?
They say Andraste herself delivered you from the Fade to battle the old gods for the fate of the world.
I'm not familiar with that name. I was invited here by First Enchanter Vivienne.
Madame de Fer is a fond nickname the court has given Lady Vivienne.
I've heard she finds it amusing.
I've heard very little about Duke Bastien.
He hasn't been seen much at court lately.
His business with the Council of Heralds often takes him from home for long periods. It can't be good for a man of his years.
And of course, there's the Civil War. Bastien probably wishes to distance himself from the actions of his one-time son-in-law.
Tearing up the Dales in a foolish bid for power? It will end in disgrace for Gaspard. Everyone knows it.
Some of those storytellers may have gotten carried away.
But only for the best effect. The Inquisition is a ripe subject for wild tales.
The Inquisition. What a lot of pig shit. Washed-up sisters and crazed seekers. No one can take them seriously. Everyone knows it's just an excuse for a bunch of political outcasts to grab power.
I brought the Templars back into the fold.
You rounded up a bunch of dazed lyrium addicts. Well done. Am I supposed to applaud? We know what your Inquisition truly is. If you were a man of honor, you'd step outside and answer the charges.
My dear Marquis, how unkind of you to use such language in my house to my guests. You know such rudeness is intolerable.
Madame Vivienne,
I humbly beg your pardon.
You should. Whatever am I going to do with you, my dear? My lord, you're the wounded party in this unfortunate affair. What would you have me do with this foolish, foolish man?
I think the Marquis has seen the error of his ways.
By the grace of Andraste, you have your life, my dear. Do be more careful with it. I'm delighted you could attend this little gathering. I've so wanted to meet you. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Vivienne, first Enchanter of Montsimard and Enchantress to the Imperial Court.
Is that Marquis going to pose a problem?
His aunt is the Vicomtesse of Mont de Glace. Not a powerful family, but well respected. And very devout. Alphonse will be disowned for this. It's not the first time he's brought his aunt disgrace, but I'm sure it'll be the last. And after such a public humiliation, I expect he'll run off to the Dales to join the Empress's war effort. Either to make a good end, or to win back a modicum of self-respect.
Charmed, Lady Vivienne.
Ah, but I didn't invite you to the chateau for pleasantries. With Divine Justinia dead, the Chantry's in shambles. But the faithful flock to your banner, pinning their hopes on you to deliver them from chaos. As the leader of the last loyal mages of Thedas, I feel it only right that I lend my assistance to your cause.
Is your interest in the Inquisition Madame de Fer, or is it more personal?
Aren't you charming? It's professional, of course.
What exactly can you do for the Inquisition?
I am well versed in the politics of the Orlesian Empire. I know every member of the Imperial Court personally. I have all the resources remaining to the Circle at my disposal. And I'm a mage of no small talent. Will that do?
Does that mean you'd be aiding the Inquisition from the Imperial Palace?
Ordinarily, I would be happy to serve as liaison to the court, but these are not ordinary times. The veil has been ripped apart and there is a hole in the sky. It is now the duty of every mage to work towards sealing the breach. And so I would join the Inquisition on the field of battle.
You say you led the last of the loyal mages. Loyal to whom?
To the people of Thedas, of course. We have not forgotten the commandment, as some have, that magic exists to serve man. I support any effort to restore such order.
So you're in favor of returning the mages to the Circle, then?
Where else can mages safely learn to master their talents? We need an institution to protect and nurture magic. Maker knows, magic will find neither on its own.
You say you led the last of the loyal mages. Loyal to whom?
To the people of Thedas, of course. We have not forgotten the commandment, as some have, that magic exists to serve man. I support any effort to restore such order.
What's in this for you?
The same thing anyone gets by fighting this chaos. The chance to meet my enemy, to decide my fate. I won't wait quietly for destruction.
Are you devout? What's your opinion of the Chantry?
I was a great admirer of the late Divine Justinia V. The Chantry, at its best, unites the disparate cultures of Thedas and looks after its most vulnerable. Had she lived, Justinia could have accomplished so much.
The Inquisition will be happy to have you, Lady Vivienne.
Great things are beginning, my dear. I can promise you that. What a fascinating life you lead, my dear. First you fall out of the Fade, then you're attacked by an archdemon. If you wanted more public attention, you could have just held a ball.
I didn't do anything. Corypheus is the one who attacked us.
Doing nothing is exactly your mistake, my dear. You left yourself vulnerable to attack. It was a miscalculation, one that I'm sure you won't repeat. But the enemy struck a serious blow against you and the Inquisition. We must recognize that. You must.
You're wrong. We now have a better location and far more people at our disposal. This couldn't have worked out better if I'd planned it.
Yet we can hardly rely upon the whims of Providence to give us all our victories. This defeat may have turned to our advantage, but it will not last long. Our enemy advances, Inquisitor. We must not sit idly by. Act first and teach them to fear us. You can become the leader the faithful require, but you must do it soon.
What do you need, my friend?
I can spare some time. What do you need?
Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor? Goodbye.
Inquisitor.
Greetings.
Goodbye. As leader of the Inquisition, there's something I must tell you.
Whatever it is, I'm willing to listen.
Right. Thank you. Lyrium grants Templars our abilities, but it controls us as well. Those cut off suffer. Some go mad, others die. We have secured a reliable source of lyrium for the Templars here. But I no longer take it.
You stopped?
When I joined the Inquisition. It's been months now.
You've never complained?
Why would I? I chose this. After what happened in Kirkwall, I couldn't. I will not be bound to the Order, or that life any longer. Whatever the suffering, I accept it. But I would not put the Inquisition at risk. I've asked Cassandra to watch me. If my ability to lead is compromised, I will be relieved from duty.
Are you in pain?
I can endure it.
Thank you for telling me. I respect what you're doing.
Thank you, Inquisitor. The Inquisition's army must always take priority. Should anything happen, I will defer to Cassandra's judgment. First the Templars, now the Grey Wardens. Both devoted their lives to fighting evil. Now they serve it.
If I was possessed by a demon, would you?
I would rather not consider it.
Is there anything I should know?
I'm glad to have the Chargers on our side. Bull's men are professionals, despite evidence to the contrary.
Is there anything I should know?
I'd gotten used to mages disliking me on principle. Vivienne's views on Templars are surprisingly traditional.
Is there anything I should know?
Creating Inquisition footholds outside Skyhold has strengthened our reputation. People view us as a stabilizing force. We've received a number of recruits eager to pledge themselves to our cause.
Is there anything I should know?
Many of our recruits viewed the Grey Wardens as heroes. Blackwall's presence is helpful. Knowing there's one warden immune to corruption has given people hope. Corypheus's grasp is not inescapable.
Is there anything I should know?
I believe Dagna has settled in well. She's certainly very cheerful.
Is that a bad thing?
I'm concerned she'll cheerfully blow up Skyhold with one of her experiments. The risk is small at present.
Is there anything I should know?
Not at present.
What do you think of the people you work with?
Who do you mean? Should you require anything, I'll be here.
Questions. You know where I'll be.
If you require any assistance.
Yes?
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
You must have an opinion of the Templars after living so long in the Circle.
Having opinions about Templars, my dear, is exactly like having opinions about mages or Navarrans or men. I have known some who were impossible to endure and some who were utterly charming. I have suffered insults at the hands of those in the armor, but no more than I endured from nobles or tradesmen in Val Royaux. Personally, I have found the Templars a useful tool, skilled at keeping more unpleasant elements at bay.
If the Circle disbanded, how can you still belong to it?
The Circle is an idea, my dear. and an idea cannot be dissolved. Many of the first enchanters voted for rebellion, caring little that anything short of a unanimous decision would pit mage against mage. Rather than dissolving it, Grand Enchanter Fiona's vote split the circle in two. The rebels follow her, the loyalists follow me.
If you lead all the loyalists, why are you only First Enchanter and not Grand Enchanter?
Grand Enchanters are elected, and since there are no First Enchanters besides myself, no vote can be held. I could name myself Grand Enchanter, but the title holds no meaning now. When the circles are restored, that will change.
I've never been to the Montsimard Circle. What was it like?
A place of great history and tradition, with the greatest library of magical history outside of the Imperium. It was deeply involved in the Great Game, as you might expect of anyone living in Orlais. The mages there were quite competitive, but it was stimulating to be always pushed to exceed the abilities of my peers.
How did we come to this state with the circles in revolt?
You, my dear, are far too wise not to have realized that many of our colleagues live with their eyes closed. Safe from the world inside their towers, they thought only of the Templars and their own resentment. Kirkwall gave the world a reason to remember its fear of magic. A mage killed hundreds with a snap of their fingers. Across Thedas, a new tangible fear of magic grew. Commoners and nobles alike called out to the Chantry for protection. But the malcontents in the towers thought nothing of this. They cared only for themselves and for their anger at the new Templar restrictions. When a mage attempted to assassinate Divine Justinia, again, the mages protested the investigation. The leadership chose to vote on independence based on the intolerable conditions imposed by the Templars, sparing no thought to the fact that magic was more feared in the aftermath of these attacks than it had been since Tevinter's day. So long as they had their freedom, they could care little for riots, angry mobs, or about pitting mages against each other.
Are you familiar with Grand Enchanter Fiona?
We've met. Before her horrendously ill-timed and selfish vote for independence, I thought her adequate at her job. In her dotage, she could not handle looking after the well-being of so many people. We would have done better to replace her years ago, to let her spend time gardening.
Did they have cause to rebel?
In the aftermath of their terrorist attacks? Was that really the most opportune time to break away? By all means, protest abuses by the Templars. Just don't do it in a way that says mages support wholesale murder. By voting when they did, my colleagues all but declared war upon the ordinary people of Thedas. A war in which we are outnumbered 100 to 1.
I thought the fighting was only between mages and Templars. Why are mages fighting mages?
The vote for independence was carried by only a small margin, but Fiona chose to let the motion stand. Those who opposed a rash declaration of war against the entire free world had little choice. By breaking from the Chantry when they did, the rebels declared themselves in support of mass murder. Anyone who did not wish to support terrorism and the slaughter of innocents was forced to take arms against the rebels. Yes?
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know? Yes?
I'd like to know more about you, Madame Vivienne.
Whatever would you like to know?
Your accent's not Orlesian. Where exactly are you from?
I am from the Circle, my dear. One's country of origin rarely matters there. But if you must know, I was born in Wycombe in the Free Marches. I was sent to the Ostwick Circle, but I transferred to Montsimard while still an apprentice.
I'm curious how a Circle mage winds up a courtier.
Nobody winds up at court, my dear. It takes a great deal of effort to arrive there. I caught the eye of Duke Bastien de Ghislaine, an advantageous connection that opened many doors. When the position of Enchanter to the Imperial Court became vacant, I was able to secure it.
You're married to the Duke de Ghislaine.
Of course not, my dear. Don't be ridiculous. Marriage is the business of alliance and inheritance. I'm Bastien's mistress.
What duties does a court enchanter have?
I am tasked with providing assistance to the Empress on arcane matters. Most of my predecessors restricted this to lighting lamps and doing parlor tricks. In such troubled times as these, however, I provide political advice to Her Majesty on the subject of the Mage Rebellion.
Do you think that you and I might, someday...
I don't see how that benefits me in the slightest, my dear. Yes?
I'd like to know more about you, Madame Vivienne.
Whatever would you like to know?
I'm curious how a Circle mage winds up a courtier.
Nobody winds up at court, my dear. It takes a great deal of effort to arrive there. I caught the eye of Duke Bastien de Ghislaine, an advantageous connection that opened many doors. When the position of Enchanter to the Imperial Court became vacant, I was able to secure it. Yes?
Do you think that you and I might, someday...
How very sweet of you to ask, but no. Yes?
Is there anything I can do to help your efforts restoring the Circle?
After the Circles fell, their libraries were plundered by scavengers. 1,000 years of recorded knowledge in the hands of bandits. It makes me sick to think of it. I've received news that some tomes have been located, if you are interested in righting this wrong.
I'll look into it for you.
If you can take care of this matter, the Circle would be in your debt.
Your trip to the merchant's home yielded results. Before she became leader of the Venatori, Calpurnia was a slave from Minrathous. Even slaves with magic are treated unkindly in Tevinter. If Corypheus freed her, no wonder she follows him.
Her old life must have been harsh, if Corypheus seemed a better master.
Perhaps. Calpurnia has freed every slave she's purchased. Vicinius tracked his shipments. My agents will investigate. This may lead us to Calpurnia's lair. In the meantime, speak to Dagna. The crystal you found on Vicinius fascinates her. I'm listening.
Anything I should know?
Having the Templars join the Inquisition has done wonders for our reputation. Good day.
Yes?
Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
What's the next favor we need to get these Duparakets a lordship?
We need a judge of the royal court to procure documents acknowledging them as nobility again. Inquisitor?
We have tracked her, and now the groom has run off as well. I've no beef with the Inquisition, but you will not station here.
Inquisitor.
I have my orders.
What an
And mine
unexpected
don't
pleasure.
recognise yours.
You must have had
A
a
rogue
long
group
journey
cannot
to the
simply
city.
set up shop in the
Might
capital.
there be any news
We're just
from
here
the
for
south?
communication. Less men than your merchant's caravan.
Here's a letter from Ellerly. He's safe with his family in the Dales.
Oh, my Ellerly. Oh, bless you. The Dions will sponsor the Duparakets as a family deserving of a noble title, Inquisitor. You have my word. Now please, forgive my hastiness, but I must read Ellerly's words. Make her keep you.
Inquisitor, if you have a moment.
What is it?
See for yourself, sir. Dispatch for you.
What is it?
Could prove useful, sir. Dispatch for you.
What is it?
This could help us. Word for you.
What is it?
This may be worthwhile. Have news, sir.
What is it?
Could prove useful, sir. Nothing to report, sir.
Yeah! Yeah!
Even I
You sure?
can tell.
Yes, sir.
must be the surfacer they call the Inquisitor. That right? Wish I could sell you some books. Wish I could sell anyone some books. Sod it all.
You're a bookseller?
Normally, yes. No need to look at me so funny. Thought I'd come here and try my luck selling books and scholarly crap to all the mages crowded hereabouts. Naturally, they've all up and vanished like a fart in a cavern. I'd go home if I just had any of my stock. What a mess.
So what happened exactly?
Surfacers happened. It took all my coin for bribes just to find out the damn Templars ambushed my wagon before it got here. Thought I was bringing supplies to the robes. So it's out there, but who knows where.
Any books of poetry in your wagon?
Sure. Mages love that stuff. Fat lot of good it does me now. What am I supposed to do now? I can't even afford a fishing boat. Yeah!
Inquisitor!
What happened here?
The House of Repose decided to pay a visit. The guards arrived in time, but I should have guessed the assassins would infiltrate the servants.
Are you sure they didn't hurt you?
They only frightened me. It was all so sudden. Leliana assigned people to shadow me. They appear to have saved my life. I owe you everything, Sergeant.
Only my duty, Ambassador. I'll talk with the Spy Master about these murderous louts. She'll find how they got in.
Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
What's the next favor we need to get these Duparakets a lordship?
We need a judge of the royal court to procure documents acknowledging them as nobility. Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
What's the next favor we need to get these du Paraquets a lordship?
We must persuade Minister Belize to ratify the papers. She's in charge of these matters of rank. The minister will be at a small fete thrown by the Marquis Wiscott. I'll get you an invitation. If you require any help finding this woman who leads the Venatori, I do keep contacts in Tevinter.
Thank you, but I must involve as few people as possible. Calpurnia has a gift for ferreting out spies close to her door.
Your worship.
Yes?
Your lost books have been found.
Your assistance in this matter will not be forgotten, I assure you. How may I help you? Did you need something, darling?
It's good to see you.
I'd like to speak with you. In private.
Oh? How private?
There's a grove just outside of Skyhold. Meet me there.
If you're certain.
I am. Trust me. On aching branch do blossoms grow, the wind a hallowed breath. It carries the scent of honeysuckle, sweet as the lover's kiss. It brings the promise of more tomorrows, of sighs and whispered bliss.
You can't be serious.
As I recall, your list was very specific.
And that is the poem you chose?
What's wrong with it?
Carmenum the Amatus. I thought this one was banned. His lips on mine speak words not voiced, a prayer, which travels down my spine like flames that shatter night. His eyes reflect the heaven stars, the Maker's light. My body opens, filled and blessed, my spirit there.
Not merely housed in flesh, but brought to life. Shall we read another?
They will say one of two things about me. That I stood at the Inquisitor's side, his protector and his lover. That it was meant to be. Or they will say I was led from the path of faith by the wiles of a madman.
I don't care what they say. What do you believe?
I believe you are a faithful man. I believe you are part of the Maker's plan. Beyond that, I believe only that you are capable of anything. And it frightens me. I have never known anything like it. I've been with only one other man in my life. A mage, with whom I adventured when I was still very young. He died at the Conclave. I will not let Corypheus win. I will not let him take you from me.
I love you.
Here, tonight. I believe you. It's always wonderful to speak with you.
I was hoping we could spend some time together.
As was I. You are quite distracting, you know.
I was hoping we could spend some time together.
You need not even ask.
What can I do for you, Your Inquisitorialness?
Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor? Another time. Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
What's the next favor we need to get these du Paraquets a lordship?
We must persuade Minister Belize to ratify the papers. She's in charge of these matters of rank. The minister will be at a small fete thrown by the Marquis Wiscott. I'll get you an invitation.
Thank you for seeing me in private, Minister Belize.
I chastise you for taking me from the party, Inquisitor, but the Marquis throws such dull affairs. You wish to discuss your petition to elevate these du Paraquets to a minor lordship. Tell me, why should I allow you to plan it's already been muddled?
The du Paraquets used to be noble. You'd be restoring an old house of Orlais.
Restoring it far too late. What are the du Paraquets now? Traders? Farmers? Really, it is too much. The very thought causes me pain. What can you possibly provide that will make your petition worth my effort?
Information. Unless you believe your source is better than agents of the Inquisition.
Normally, I wouldn't trust your discretion. But the left hand of the Divine is working for you, is she not? Sister Leliana is a resourceful woman. I could certainly make use of her talents. Very well, Inquisitor. Should you fulfill this bargain, I shall raise the du Paraquets into lordship.
Inquisitor?
At your order. I must return to Val Royeaux to see that everything is in order. Please join me when you can. It's good to see you.
What do the people make of us?
There's scarcely a noble house that hasn't opened...
It's the Grand Ball in the Winter Palace.
I received a letter from the House of Repose, Your Worship. They acknowledge their contract is null and void. There is no longer a price on my life.
I'm glad you don't have to live your life looking over your shoulder anymore.
I regret we were forced to deal with them, that you were endangered by my part in the game. Did I ever mention I used to be a bard?
You were a singer?
Bards entertain the Orlesian court. They sing, play music, make charming conversation, and spy. Many young nobles put on a mask and practice playing the game in such a fashion.
What made you interested in becoming a bard?
I was attending a university in Val Royeaux when I learned about bards. There was such an air of romance about them. Stories of secrets, trysts, and fascinating people. A group of us, young gentry from Antiva, decided this exciting life was for us.
How did you go from being a wandering singer to an ambassador?
In a very sad fashion. During one particular intrigue, I encountered a bard sent to kill my patron. We fought. Or perhaps scrapped is the better word. Both of us terrified. We were at the top of a steep flight of stairs. The other bard threw a knife, and I pushed him away from me. You can imagine the result.
You were only defending yourself.
But it was such a waste, Inquisitor. When I took off his mask, I knew him. We'd attended parties together. If I'd stopped to reason, if I'd used my voice instead of scuffling like a common thug, I'll always wonder who that young man would have grown into.
He seemed willing enough to murder you for the game.
Perhaps. I feel I'm the last to judge whether or not he would have actually used the blade. In all the commotion... forgive me, I don't believe I ever thanked you for helping me with this.
Hold on to it. Don't lose sight of why you came here.
I will never forget you helped save the House of Montilyet, Inquisitor. And should you ever visit Antiva, stories of the welcome we'll give you will be told for years. It's good to see you.
Have you had any trouble with them?
Not at all. I will inform you if that changes.
Inquisitor.
Let's see what we have.
At your service.